What's on, where, and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. NBS Talk Nelson.
Banking for life means trust, stability, and confidence.
You're there for the lifetime, and NBS are providing that right through.
The Mako Rugby Roundup.
Welcome to the Mako Rugby Roundup, coming back to you from the Turf Hotel. Thanks to Stan and the team. Welcome back, Les. Nice to have you.
Lovely to be here.
Here, mate. We've got to give a shout out to what's happening this weekend at the Turf. Friday night, it's Toadstool. Saturday, it's times 2-7. Can't read the writing. Have to check the Facebook page on that one. And on Sunday, $2,400. It's the mega meat raffle, so make sure you come and get your tickets. This week, we actually caught up with Tom Marshall, who is, as most of us know, ex-Mako player, Crusaders player, played for the Chiefs as well. And he's coaching Nelson, taking on the reins of coaching Nelson. So we just...
And doing a very good job.
Well, it seems that way because they've had a couple of results, and we really wanted to have a catch up with him because there's a few things, actually. One is what's it like being a head coach now? And I wasn't too sure if he'd had that role in the past in any manner. Of course, last season, he was the backs coach for the Mako. So, how was that? Maybe that's a future for him. So we did catch up earlier with Tom, and we started by asking him, because we hadn't actually caught up with him, not last season, it was the season before. So we said, well, okay, what have you been up to since then? And what did you do in the off season?
Yeah, cheers, Chris. Nice to be back on the podcast. You guys are doing a great job covering off the community side of things, which is awesome. Myself, recently retired from rugby, I suppose. Last time we caught up, I would have been still playing. So I retired in Japan in June last year. Came back home with the family. We had a house out in Mapua, and we settled out there for a bit, and pretty much went straight into coaching the Mako last season. So I was looking after the backs last season, and during the off season, just been focusing on being a dad. I've got 3 boys under 5, so
Jeez, that'll keep you busy.
Pretty busy man at the moment.
What ages are they?
4, 2, and baby.
Oh, is that right? Wow.
Yeah, yeah. So
full-time job.
Yeah, got my hands full, but we've been away for a long time, so it was nice to have New Zealand summer. It was our first Christmas in New Zealand for about 10 years.
Oh, wow. Yeah, right.
So it was cool.
Yeah, cool. Able to soak up a bit of sun. And then, and pre-season is usually pretty soon these days. So then one way or another, a conversation started to happen about going into a coaching role with Nelson. So how did that come about?
Yeah, it was pretty random, actually. I was coming into my car from the union, and Chris Pugh, the club manager at Nelson, kind of just tapped on my window and asked what I was up to and whether or not I'd be interested. Initially, I wasn't too sure because I wasn't really sure what I was doing and what I had lined up job-wise, but managed to get another opportunity to coach Tasman this year. So that kind of made my decision to coach Nelson easy because, that's something that I'm decided that I'd like to do. I really enjoyed my coaching stint last year with Tasman, and I thought it would be a good opportunity to take the reins at Nelson. Definitely a good challenge. But it was something that as soon as I realised I could do it, it was something that I was really excited to do.
So in your earlier days at club level, did you play for Nelson?
Yep.
Oh, you did. So you're a Nelson man. It's in the blood.
Yep.
So the opportunity to coach the old club, I guess, would have raised an eyebrow, wouldn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah.
No, definitely did. The timings all worked out really well. As a kid, we grew up just around the road from Neil Park. My folks are still there, and the club certainly been a big part of my life and a big stepping stone for me for my professional rugby career as well. So it's a really cool opportunity to give back to the club, and really enjoying it.
Great stuff. So head coaching role is a little bit different than a supporting coaching role. So when you went into that, what was the challenge for you? What did you come across, and what did you have to get your head around?
Yeah, I guess everything.
Yeah.
I literally am doing everything. Which, if you've got an assistant coaching role, you just focus on your area of the game and then you can feed back. But there's a lot going on as a head coach. You kind of I'm not only coaching, the attack, the defense, everything that we're doing. I'm trying to wrangle a team together and trying to build a squad and trying to build a culture.
Yeah.
And that was the first thing I wanted to do. I wanted to make it a club that people wanted to come to, people wanted to play for, and just really tried to get a little bit of enjoyment back into it. So that's been the big goal from the get-go, is just all about trying to get the culture back.
And so you've got some assistants there. So when it comes to, say, managing the team and perhaps a bit of assisting in the coaching role, you got some support there.
Yeah, so I've got two good managers. I've got Murray Scott, who's been around the club for a long time. Very good bowls player, so he goes away on New Zealand bowls tournaments and stuff. So he's missed a few match days at the start, so he gets helped out by Fletcher Hewitt-Smart's old man. He's stepped into a bit of managerial duties this year, and he's been awesome. We got a bit of help, and I've been lucky to have Matt Lowe. He's been out injured, so he's been helping me with the lineouts. And Sack, another one of our players, 42-year-old prop, he's been helping with the scrums. So
fantastic.
In terms of the forwards, set piece gets looked after a little bit, which has been good.
And so in relation to taking on that head coach role, have you been able to lean on anyone and say, bit of a different beast, this one, what do I do here? Have you got anyone to call on, or has it just really been from what you picked up over the years?
Yeah, not really. I've just kind of been winging it at the moment. There are a lot of dynamics involved in club rugby, and half the time you're spending a lot of energy trying to scrape together players, making sure that they turn up, and making sure you got a team. That's the first goal. And once you got that, and then it's trying to figure out how you can win some rugby games. But
yeah, it's interesting, isn't it? Because even at the start of a new season in local competition, it's often around, well, who's going to show up? What kind of a team? Last year's form has nothing to do with it. And then even on a Saturday, you're working out your game tactic and what we can improve on. But of course, it depends on who's available on the Saturday. So you really by Saturday morning, you're sort of making it up on the spot, aren't you? Sometimes.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah. I'll get to the start of the week and I'll be really excited. I plan my team like weeks in advance, and I'll be really excited. I'm like, right, these are the availability, and then rolling on Tuesday, you get the odd message comes up, the next one comes up, and I'm just all of a sudden I'm scrambling trying to put together a team. But that's all part of it. These boys are doing it for the love of the game, so I appreciate that. They've got other commitments, and it's just trying to make it work.
I mean, one of the things I know with Gary, he player retention and trying to build that squad in past years. So that was obviously a challenge for you guys, but a couple of favourable results in more recent times. So is that starting to appear to stabilise a little bit? Are you starting to build a deeper squad?
I think results is really important. And I knew that coming into it. I knew that A, we had to start well. And then B, we had to get some wins on board. Once that happens, if you do start winning, all of a sudden players turn up again. The trainings become a lot busier. People want to be involved. So that was the big goal at the start. But to do that, we did have to find some players, and we've got players from all over the world that we've picked up through Facebook. A rugby vacancy group on Facebook, and through contacts and just people that are keen to come and play some club rugby. So we've managed to get a few players in, try and assist them with work and whatnot, finding accommodation. That's all the stuff that the club's been really good with. We've had Kent, a guy called Kent that really helps out in that department. So we have had to get probably about 6 players in. Without them, we'd be struggling.
Yeah, right. Okay. But obviously something's starting to work because some of that quality must be there because bit of a slow start, but then all of a sudden a few good results. So, some of that hard work's starting to pay off now.
Yeah, yep, definitely. We've got we've got a good squad. We've just got a lean squad. If we have a couple of injuries, we don't have anywhere to turn to. But I think that's the same with a lot of the clubs. So we've got a lot of really good young talent coming through. So I think, next year we're going to be better than what we are this year, and then the year after is probably going to be even better as well. Yeah,
right. So tell us about some of that talent coming through. What have you noticed, and is there anyone in particular that we should be keeping our eye on?
Yeah, we got plenty at Nelson. We've got our whole front rows. Sammy Moi, Red, Blake Craddock, Sione Muffy, the Nelson College front row of the first 15, I think 3 years ago. So this is
right,
third year out of school. They all come through together.
Yeah.
So they're going to be awesome. We got Kobe Brownlee, who's first year out of school, and he's only 18, and he's doing good things in club. And then we've got Matt Lowe, he's been around for a wee while, and he's been injured, so he's having his first game back off the bench this weekend, which will be cool. Fletcher Hewitt-Smart, he's our captain, and he's influential in everything he does. All of these players, there's probably a few more that I've missed, but all of these players I'm pretty confident will go on to be professional rugby players.
Wow, fantastic. That's good to see. And it's hard to retain those younger players because certainly after college rugby, off they go, university or wherever else. So the fact that the ones that do stay want to come and play at local club level, it's great to retain those players, isn't it? And I guess one eye for them is on a potential berth in the Mako squad.
Yeah, that's it really. It is hard to entice some of those boys leaving from school, particularly as, in terms of study and stuff in the Nelson Tasman region. That's something that the Mako have traditionally struggled with, losing players to potentially Christchurch. But no, the opportunity to play for Tasman is definitely probably the main attraction that we can have to keep our players in the Tasman region.
So one advantage, you did confirm you are going to take a role on with the Mako, and presumably that's the backline coaching role. Is that right?
Yep. So I'll be doing pretty similar role to what I did last year. Which is looking after the backs with a couple more things added in. But So I
guess one of the advantages is that in your current coaching role, you get to travel around the region, keeping an eye on not only your own team, but other clubs too.
Yeah, that's been awesome. That's probably been the best part of taking this job so far, is that I do get to see the local talent. Whereas last year I arrived straight off the plane, not really watched any club rugby, didn't really know who was who. So it's been cool to be able to see, put a face to the name and kind of see everyone in action at the club level.
If you look at yourself and your brother, people like Andrew Goodman, playing at that local level. I remember watching you guys down at the touch fields in the off season, local talent going on to have careers. And even though we talk about First Division men's rugby being a struggle with numbers, are you encouraged by what you see on the park as far as talent goes?
Yeah. I think it's actually been a lot better than I thought it would have been. The club rugby, I don't know if it's usual. To be honest, I haven't watched a lot of club rugby in the last 10 years, so I don't know what the standard has been like, but I've been pleasantly surprised. I think that the top teams are showing pretty good quality, and a lot of the games that we've played have been at least entertaining, high scoring, good games to watch. So yeah, there's definitely enough talent out and about.
Fantastic. Okay, so Let's talk a little bit more about your experience with the Mako last year. Willie Havili, what a season he had last season, and some incredibly close matches with the Ramphilly Shield. So what was that like for you? Because you came into that, backs coaching role. I'm not entirely sure whether you've had that experience before. Certainly, probably as a member of a senior leadership team, perhaps in a back line. But was that your first foray into coaching a back line, and then B, having to go through a season which had all sorts of ups and downs and close calls, and having a number 10 which is just developing every year?
Yeah, no, oh, look, I loved it. I didn't really know what to expect going into it, and I kind of went into it a little bit blind, a little bit naive, which was probably a good thing. When I look back at it, I just kind of attacked it full force with confidence, as if I'd been doing it for years. But yeah, I mean, it was a great season. We didn't obviously end the way that we wanted to, but we had some special games like the Ranfurly Shield games, like being involved in that away game up at Hawke's Bay. That's going to be one of my favourite rugby memories moving forward. I think it was just incredible, and then coming back, being able to take the Shield to Lansdowne Park and retain that against a crowd that I've never seen that size before. And that was another one of those classic great games. And so, there was some special moments, and unfortunately we ran out of puff towards the end of the season. But like in terms of a first taste at coaching, I absolutely loved it. And, from then I decided that, I want to try and give this a little bit of a crack.
And from my perspective, some standout, obviously Willie Havili, but then you got Macca Springer, wing or playing a fullback role, which I'm sure you would have had to have a few chats to him about. And also people like Will Butler coming out of the middle of nowhere and actually playing pretty well. So some exciting talent there.
Yeah, no, we do. Willie's been growing as a player for a long time now, and he's finally, I think, taken his game to the next level, and you're seeing it at Super Rugby at the moment. At fullback, he's equally as good, but he's awesome for us. He really drives our game, and like picking up players like Will Butler that slot into the culture and the environment seamlessly, and then add value is awesome. And we got players like Jim Tavatavanawai, who's influential in any rugby game that he played.
Right. Could be a number 7, couldn't he?
No, he can. He's an absolute machine, and hopefully he's comes back from the Highlander season not too beaten up.
And the other guy that I think he was injured for some part of that season last year, but it's Robertson, is that his last name?
Tane Robinson, yeah.
Yeah, I mean, I watched a game with the Highlanders. He played, and I just thought, there he goes. I mean, incredible talent. Another one from Collingwood.
Yeah.
And he's another player that's just going to keep growing, isn't he?
Yeah. No, he's a good local lad. He's been around our environment for a wee bit now, so it's good to see him get an opportunity at Super Rugby, and he's going to be a lot better for that. And I think he'll come back and he'll be full of confidence and ready to go. So,
in your perception, is maybe too early to tell, but are you hoping, is it looking good to retain a lot of the players that you had last year, and or maybe one or two other exciting prospects?
Yeah, our squad is looking very good. I think it's peaking towards a good year for us. We've managed to retain a lot of quality players, and we've got a very good squad.
When do they hope to announce that squad?
That is a good question.
Okay.
I think after the club. So we have club finals on the 5th of July, and then we have an internal trial game on the 12th of July over in Blenheim. So I'm assuming after that trial match, the full squad will be announced and we assemble.
Very good. Now, on another note, you have played for 2 super franchises. You played for the Crusaders, and you've also played for the Chiefs. And at the moment, they are 1 and 2 on the table, and all going well, potentially all leading through to a final.
Yeah.
So what do you do there? I mean, publicly, are you definitely a Crusader, or are there too many connections with the Chiefs that you're not going to call that
Oh, look, I enjoyed my time at both of those two teams, and they're both awesome clubs in their own right. Got a wee bit of an allegiance with the Crusaders, with having my brother coaching there.
Yes, yeah, that's
So
right.
I would definitely support the Crusaders over the Chiefs at the moment.
Oh, there you go. There you go. Chiefs going pretty well at the moment, but just what an amazing turnaround from last season for the Crusaders. I mean, obviously they had a lot of injuries and players away, but when they got their stocks back, they've really turned it around, haven't they? Playing some great rugby.
Yeah, they have. And they've got some influential players playing really good footy, likes of like Davey Havili stepping up, playing some of the best footy I've seen him play in a long time. So it makes a difference when your good quality players are playing well. But no, as you said, it's good to see them back on top, and certainly they look, with the Chiefs, the top two teams to beat, I think.
Yeah, definitely. Mentioning your brother James, we have had a chat to him before, and aspiring to get the heights of his podcast following. Has he invited you on the show yet, or
on his podcast?
Yeah,
I've been on there.
Oh, you have?
Oh,
good. But he's also gone into a coaching role, and so it looks as though you're going down a similar path. So who knows, one day hooking up together, perhaps.
Yeah, who knows? No, he's certainly streamlined the coaching transition and made it look an absolute breeze. So, I'm certainly trying to do the best I can and follow that transition. I don't know how he does it all. He does his podcast and he does his coaching.
Yeah, right.
He's got an extra kid than me, so he's got 4 of them. So
he's
a busy man, but no, he's doing good things.
Yeah, good stuff. All right. So when we look at the table, in 4th position, so haven't seen that with Nelson the last couple of years. So all of a sudden the thoughts start thinking, maybe we could make this top 4. Central's results haven't quite gone the way that they would have hoped, and I think you're on 20 points, they're on 16, and then Karangi actually have struggled early in the season. Big changes in their squad. Spoke to Mike Wills last week, but then a few have come to the rescue, I think, and 1 or 2 other players, and of course, perhaps getting the team in sync. So that's the game this weekend, Trafalgar Park, Nelson versus Karangi. So tell us about your thoughts going into that match.
Yeah, should be a good game. I think Karangi are, definitely the most improved team at the moment, and they're a team on the rise. I watched them absolutely annihilate Central the other weekend, which was surprising.
Yeah.
I didn't see that result coming. Well, certainly not that margin coming, but they're playing good footy. But they need to win their next 3 games as well as their previous game. So it's going to be tough for them to go back to back to back to back to back. It always is. And the way we're sitting, we need to get up, I think, one more win, and we should be able to secure it.
Because, I mean, you didn't get the result against Waimea, but a few points on the board. So was that fairly encouraging?
Yeah. Look, that was a reasonably close game. Waimea are a pretty good side. They're well drilled, well coached. I think there was probably our toughest opponent so far in terms of the game. We had a pretty good game. So I was happy with the way we went. We just weren't quite good enough. So yeah, it's certainly encouraging. I think if we can build on that performance, then we'll be more than half a chance against Karangi.
Good stuff. All right. Make sure you get along if you're a Nelson supporter, and Trafalgar Park, they'll need you for that game. Hey, Tom, pleasure speaking to you. Great to see the work that you're doing at Nelson, and I'm sure a lot of Nelson followers will be thinking in the next 2 or 3 years there might be a couple too, maybe in the future. It's heading in that direction. Going back to the old heady days. Nelson was pretty much at the top of the table all the time, isn't it? And it's interesting, through the life cycle of clubs, how things always go in cycle, isn't it? You're top of the pole, all of a sudden a few people go and you have to reinvent yourself, and that's a great challenge, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's all the clubs go through it, and everyone has their their glory time. But we've had a few tough years, so hopefully we can rebuild and just restore a little bit of pride back into the jersey.
Yeah, very good. All right, appreciate you coming in. Great to catch up with you. Good luck for the rest of the season, and of course, good luck for the forthcoming Mako season. Should be very exciting, and we hope to catch up with you again in the not too distant future.
Beauty. Thanks, Chris. Appreciate it.
That was Tom Marshall, who is a former Mako, Crusaders, and Chiefs player, and great to hear from him. All right, Les, so let's get into it. And it's the Stuff Tasman Trophy women's fixtures. Had a break over the weekend. I hope everyone enjoyed that. Put their feet up.
Yeah, I think quite timely in terms of certainly Division 1. The Division 2 boys had started a bit later.
Yeah.
So they were only 3 rounds in, whereas the seniors, the Division 1 seniors really in need of a rest for some bodies who've been doing it pretty tough over the last few weeks.
Yeah. So back into it. Raining at the moment, but apparently it's going to clear up. So it's going to be truly getting into the winter weather. Jubilee Park, 12 o'clock, Waimea women taking on the Motori women.
Yeah, so let's hope Motori can get a team onto the bus and get over. 12 noon start. This is all happening for Club Day at Waimea Old Boys. So
right.
It's really quite interesting the timing they're going with. So we'll talk about the main game kickoff time shortly. So an earlier start than normal.
Yeah.
The Waimea women are playing well, playing good rugby. They've got a united team, so they should prevail over Motori.
Tahuna playing fields, 1:15, and tough gig for the Marist women, Les.
Yeah.
Kaharangi are on fire at the moment, and big clash at Tahuna Nui Park.
Yes, so I agree with you. Kaharangi really are the form team. I know that the Marist women are very proud and want to make amends for the first round loss against Kaharangi. So, I expect a better performance, but I would think Kaharangi go into this as pretty red-hot favourites.
Stuff Tasman Trophy, Men's Division 1, and let's talk about it now. Jubilee Park, 2 o'clock kickoff, mighty clash. Waimea Old Boys versus Marist. Could be, who knows, could be the, what do you call it? What's a game before the main game?
The curtain raiser.
The curtain raiser. Could be the curtain raiser for the final, Les. You never know.
Well, you never know. Lots of good teams still hanging around. So, but interesting kickoff time, 2 p.m. So please don't be late if you're going to go to Jubilee Park and watch this one. It's a top of the table clash.
Yes.
1v2, mouth-watering. You know, Waimea Old Boys at home are a very, very good team. Marist playing rather well. An exciting backline. As you said, the weather forecast is for a dry track.
Yeah.
Certainly no rain in the air, so that's important. And I can't think of a better place to be at 2 o'clock on a Saturday afternoon if you're a rugby fan than being at Jubilee Park.
Green Meadows, 3 o'clock, and Stoke taking on Central. And this is a bit of an unknown, isn't it? Because there was an expectation that Central, who were starting to build, would get a result against Kaharangi, who are also building, but Kaharangi, beat them convincingly. So we don't really know what Central side's going to turn up. And Stoke have had some good performances, but also not so good. So couldn't really pick this one.
Well, it is important for Stoke to get a win.
Yeah.
They're currently at the bottom of the table. Just for the rest of the season, they will be wanting to score a victory, take advantage of a Central side who are on their second away game in a row. So that's, two bus trips that they've put in. So I think Green Meadows, always good for the Stoke side. But my thinking is the Central side is quality. They've got good players throughout, and they'll probably squeak a win at Green Meadows.
Well, I was looking at the table, and we had that conversation with Tom earlier about how his team's going. Nelson currently sitting fourth, Kaharangi sitting third, and Nelson on 20. Below that, Central on 16.
Yeah.
So, if Nelson can get a win against Kaharangi, then that puts them fairly and squarely in that top four. And Central, if they don't get the win, might be really scraping to make
doing
that
it
top
tough.
four. That's
Absolutely.
right. So it's very interesting.
Yeah, it's important for both sides. Stoke to get their season on track and Central to get back into winning ways.
Yeah.
So, yeah, mouth-watering also at Green Meadows, 3 p.m.
Trafalgar Park, 3:00. And we talked about it with Tom, Nelson taking on Karangi. And this will be a very good game because both sides have shown improvement.
Yeah, I agree with that. And I think Tom's done a really nice job, as he talked about, bringing the fun element back into the way they play the game. I've watched them warm up. I've watched them after the game. They're a tight-knit group and they do and have a good time. And he's slowly, I think, coaching them into understanding that you've got to take your key moments and to secure a win. Nelson against Kahurangi visiting, man, it is good. It is a good game, this one. So I agree with what you said off air before we got here. All three games are tantalising.
They are, yes, absolutely. So, maybe Nelson home ground advantage. You might pick that, but certainly very close.
I think you can have a go at picking that one, Chris.
Oh, I'll pick Nelson at home.
Okay.
Nelson at home.
Yeah.
Sorry about that, Karangi.
Tom's talked you around.
Yeah, that's right. Our feature match, Motor World Marlborough Senior A fixture. And it's now, I think I may have this correct. I think it's number 1 versus number 3. So that's why I picked this one at Endeavour Park, 2:00. Waitohi Senior A taking on Central Senior A.
Yeah, so
be a good game.
Yeah, and we know a couple of people involved in the Central side. So Wayne Young and his son Liam are entrenched in this team.
Yeah.
So they'll be hoping for a win. And Waitohi, as you say, number 1 in the comp. So yeah, great battle. 2 p.m. at Endeavour Park in Picton.
Now, Miles Toyota Championship and Premiership, and it was the massive clash on Thursday. Live on Sky, I did manage to catch most of the game. And the final result, Marlborough Boys College 28 over Nelson College 26. And we'll have to say controversial. We don't want to take anything away from Marlborough. My thoughts on the game was, geez, Marlborough are really dominating this game. They started off with a hiss and a roar and were well in advance, although, a couple of good patches in the first half from Nelson College. I thought this is going to be a dominant performance. But second half, it just wound up. And I don't know whether all the energies of Marlborough were in the first half and they were going to hang on, but Nelson College really stormed home. And we'll talk about the controversy shortly. But my actual feeling is I think Nelson College blew it. They had an opportunity to get down the park, and I thought they need to get down there, at least get a droppy. Even if they get it early to get the win, you got to get the points. And they had that opportunity, and then I think maybe they thought they were confident enough to get across the line. They blew that. And I just think they had a missed opportunity. Now, obviously, there was the controversy. So there was, was it a penalty attempt or was it not? And that's the grey area, isn't it?
Yeah, well, I was there watching this game live at the same end as Tom Marshall. I saw him down there at the sideline checking out the college players that he might get in the future. Look, there's no doubt about it that once you put the ball on the tee, right, they did call the kicking tee out. So all of the Nelson College players accepted that he was going to have a genuine shot at goal. Law 820 says that if you indicate you're going to go for a penalty, you got to have a genuine attempt at taking it. It was then a nice soccer pass into the far corner on
which
the left-hand
almost went
side.
out.
Yeah, which almost went out. So clearly the college weren't going to win that race to the ball. And funnily enough for me, the referee, Andy Matthews, he blew his whistle to consult the touchy on the corner on the sideline and in goal. And, of course, that guy couldn't be there to adjudicate on that either because he was behind the post as well. So, yeah, fair degree of controversy. The referee, just said as far as he was aware, there was no law against such a play. Clearly there was. He'll know now. He'll never make that mistake again. It doesn't do Nelson College any favours that it happened. And like you say, their comeback in the second half was sterling. I thought Marlborough were going to be such clear winners in this game that I left with the score about 25-5.
Oh,
And went home knowing that I could get home in time to watch the end on TV. And Nelson College can be very proud. They scored 3 consecutive converted tries. And my other little piece of controversy on this is in the dying moments, Tom Perkins went over in the corner for what I thought was a try, and he was called back and a
that's right. Yes, that's right.
So
didn't play advantage.
I'm not sure where the advantage
Well, I thought that too. Didn't play advantage.
Yeah,
that's right.
So College will be disappointed, but rugby's rugby. At the end of the day, it's the scoreline that counts.
And, 2 things there. No one knew what was going on. The commentators were going through the rule book. Even the rule book, even after reading the rule, it was this thing about the intention to take a penalty. I would have thought if you put it on a tee, that's the intention. So that was completely grey. But in saying that, it was a great game, and it was well deserved by Marlborough because they did play well. But I Nelson College, my old school, so I'll say it quite clearly: you blew it. I think you had every opportunity to take a drop goal. You were perhaps hard done by on a couple of calls, but you put that play aside and you could have won the game. However, it's all about a learning curve, and I'm wrapped for Marlborough boys because it's been a long time between drinks, and they got the goods, and they would have been absolutely wrapped.
Yeah, and consolidated first spot on the table.
Yes.
Nelson College still in there.
Yeah,
top
that's
4.
Right. 100%.
So they got a bonus point or 2. Unlucky Nelson. Well done, Marlborough, and won't it be great when they play in the playoffs?
Yeah, that's right. And there was another result, and that was at Sports Park Motueka, Waimea Combined, just going down to Christchurch Boys High School second 15, 26-24.
Yeah, I think Waimea Combined will be disappointed, but also pretty pleased with the way that they held what I think is a very strong second 15 from Christchurch Boys High School to such a narrow loss, and also they were in the 4, so they're having a pretty decent season.
The fixtures, and there's no rest for them last weekend. They continue. They're doing the hard yards, and Nelson College go away to St Andrews College. That's an 11 o'clock kickoff in Christchurch. Marlborough Boys College, they're taking on Christ College. That'll be a big game. That is at Marlborough. So
nice opportunity there. Nice opportunity for the Blenheim folk to get out and support this rather good team.
And Waimea Combined get a chance to go down and take on MCC. I don't know if I've come across them before. Ashburton Showground. So they'll be the local Ashburton College, presumably.
Yeah, it's Mid-Canterbury Combined. So, yes. I'm going to pick a Waimea Combined away win in this one. I think they're a good enough side to beat Mid-Canterbury Combined.
But isn't it great to have those combined teams putting these efforts together, and we, a chance to play at home in Ashburton against, a visiting school. I just think that's fantastic. It's a great occasion. Super Pacific Rugby, and more results, more controversy. If we hadn't had enough in the college rugby, then we got it in Super Rugby as well. We'll talk about that very shortly. But the Chiefs are very dominant, 41-24 over the Highlanders.
Yeah, I obviously watched this one with interest, and the Chiefs were terrific. To me, a top-ranked team just playing to their absolute potential.
They're peaking at the right time, aren't they?
Yes, they are.
And Crusaders just doing it, 33-31 over the Brumbies. They hung in there, didn't they?
Yeah, and this is where the controversy lies. The poor old Brumbies will be kicking because they get a win and they're in second spot.
Yeah.
A missed knock-on, a blatant missed knock-on by Sever Reese by the not being seen by the referee crew. Did enough because the Crusaders scored shortly thereafter, and they did. They won it late in Canberra, and winners are grinners and losers can please themselves. But I do feel sorry for the Brumbies in this one because I thought they were playing pretty decent football.
The Blues 46-6 over the Waratahs, and we'll talk about that shortly. Hurricanes 64 over Moana Pacifica 12. I mean, disappointment for Moana because, they're on the cusp. They miss out in the top six, and, they could have won that. But, geez, the Hurricanes, 64, they really turned it on.
They did, played wonderfully well.
Wouldn't have picked that.
Yeah, I thought it would be 13 plus, but just because the Moana team after that, man, they had a test match against the Blues.
Yeah.
And they were they put everything into that. Then they had a big loss the week after, and then this. It was just a couple of games too far for them, but I think the potential is really there for Moana for 2026.
And then the Reds, a big win over Fijian Drua.
The biggest disappointment in this comp has been the form of Fijian Drua.
Yeah.
Quite seriously. And the Reds are too good a team to be, they're just too good a team. They're going to take advantage of a lax Fijian Drua, and they did.
Which leads into the quarterfinals on Friday, Crusaders versus the Queensland Reds. And, this could be a good game. I mean, we've got our favourites, but Reds have played pretty well this season.
Yes, they are. I'm not sure about this Crusaders team, mate. Without Will Jordan, they need him back to provide some spark from the back. It's just there's no flow to it. But look, hopefully they'll be too good for the Reds. But it's a heck of a contest. But they should prevail. Friday 7 o'clock on Friday, going to be worth watching.
And I know what you're going to say, but don't rest on your laurels because here comes the Blues.
Yeah, good luck, Blues. Against a very, very good Chiefs side. It's a massive derby, isn't it, in Hamilton? And again, this is on the Saturday, of course, 7 o'clock, the Friday night game for the Crusaders, Saturday night for the Chiefs, and just two excellent games. But I'm gonna put my money on the Chiefs for this one. I just think they've got too much pizzazz and firepower.
They're playing very well at the moment.
A bunch of All Blacks who have been on the bench. Do they bring them back? Semipeni Finau, do they bring him back? Do they start Cortez Ratama at halfback? Yeah. Lots to like about the depth of the Chiefs side.
Brumbies take on the Hurricanes. The Hurricanes have to travel again away to Canberra, and tough match, but both sides in good form. And the Hurricanes, especially the way they're travelling at the moment, geez.
Yeah, I'm going to have to watch this one.
Yeah.
It's just going to be a cracker because I love the Hurricanes. I love the way they're playing. It's a pity that because they started the season so poorly.
Yeah.
And we had every aftermatch was Karefi saying, oh, man, we've just got to learn to hold the ball at critical moments. They went through a tough patch, but they've come back and now they've put it all together. So, and the Brumbies are the best of the Australian side. So just mouth-watering.
It is. Okay. And then we get into the controversy because people are going, lucky loser. So who plays who? And if you're a loser, who goes through? And so, it's just all very confusing. So lucky loser rule. In this format, the highest seeded team that loses in the quarterfinals advances to the semi-finals as a lucky loser. The lucky loser drops one seeding position to avoid immediate rematches or home advantage. The higher seeded teams host the semi-final matches. So,
can you put that into a diagram for me?
Exactly. So then I thought, okay, what happens if the Reds tip up the Crusaders, the Blues tip up the Chiefs, and the Hurricanes win? They beat the Brumbies. So the Hurricanes will take on the Chiefs. Okay, fair enough. That makes sense because the Chiefs are the highest seeded team. And then the Reds and the Blues go through, meaning that the Crusaders and the Brumbies, who have actually been performing very good all season, just completely miss out entirely. So the question begs, why didn't we rest the top two this week and then then go to a semis, and then to a final.
It's certainly the most easy to understand,
Mm.
and it's the way the NRL would do it.
Yes.
And the punters can understand it, but maybe Super Rugby have borrowed this idea from somewhere else. I don't know. Didn't do my research.
Someone's on the whiteboard. Someone's on the whiteboard
But
going,
it is confusing. When you say things like, you drop a place if you.
yeah. So if you're the lucky losing seeded team, then you basically, hang on, the lucky loser drops one seeding position to avoid immediate rematches. So actually, do we have this right? Because does that mean the Crusaders go through and not the Chiefs? Because, no, well, hang on, how does that work? Because then the Crusaders would, and the Chiefs would be on second equal, or then they drop to third?
Mate.
How does that work?
I don't know how.
But you would imagine that the Chiefs would go through because they were first. But then they're saying, well, they drop a seed.
Yes.
What
does that mean?
Yeah, what does that mean? Because are they second equal? Because when I put it through, a chat GPT thing, which isn't always right, they pick the Crusaders to go through.
Okay. Because the Chiefs have lost.
That means you lose one game and
that's your
the
season.
top 30, that's the season gone.
Yeah. What is going to really be good here is that the Chiefs are going to win.
Yeah, that's right.
The Crusaders will win
That's right.
and that sorts that out. And then,
and then it doesn't matter on the other one. And they're calling the Brumbies and the Hurricanes a dead rubber because they will both get a second chance.
Yes.
But that's actually not true because the Hurricanes will go through. Or the Brumbies will go through because the Reds and the Blues
have lost.
Will have lost. Or if they win, they just automatically go straight through.
Yeah, but no, see, mate.
So the scenario is if the Blues beat the Chiefs and the Reds beat the Crusaders, they will go through.
Yes.
There's no second chance. And then if the Brumbies, so the Hurricanes go through, they beat the Brumbies.
Yep.
Then the
top seeded
loser goes through. But then they're saying that they drop a seed.
Yeah, no, that's only if they had to play a
rematch.
A rematch.
Yes, gotcha.
So again, we just need Chiefs, Crusaders, and Hurricanes to win, and Brumbies will be in the 4, but they won't play the Hurricanes because then it'll be.
Yes, gotcha.
Yeah,
gotcha. So and now here's the other thought, Les.
Yeah,
the gate.
Yes, is the money the motivator?
It must be because if you've got two teams that are having a bye, you don't get the gate.
Yeah, it's one extra game than if you rested seeds 1 and 2.
But you might get bigger TV viewership. I mean, because the Brumbies and the Hurricanes, who cares?
Yeah. The person at Super Rugby who came up with this is a superstar in terms of just flummoxing people who can't work it out like you and I.
You see, it depends on the brief he was giving. We don't want it like league.
That might have just been it.
And we want to keep the gate. So go away and sort it out, All right. Okay, so good luck. And now I've forgotten who is actually even playing each other.
Oh, that's easy. Chiefs versus Blues. Chiefs to win. Crusaders versus Reds. Crusaders to win just. And Brumbies versus Hurricanes, and I hope it's the Hurricanes.
Yeah.
And then Brumbies can play another weekend.
All right. So thoughts for the week, Les?
Oh, apart from being absolutely blown away by that. Hey, listen, again, I'm just thinking about community rugby, and a shout out to all of those companies, right, who sponsor clubs around our region. There's a lot of them who can't afford to put in a lot, but put in something. But just a shout out to every one of those businesses out there who do get in behind
and sometimes
keeping our clubs viable.
Well, that's right. And sometimes they can't afford to do it financially. So they put in product, work, time, labour, club rooms, helping out with new club rooms and stuff like that. So,
just the lifeblood of, sponsors and volunteers just keep community rugby going, and we must remember them.
Because even in junior, sometimes it's just a case of a local small business buying a set of team jerseys for the kids.
Correct.
Sometimes it's about that, isn't it?
Yep. Or a bunch of parents putting in money to buy a jersey each. There's all sorts of ways people help, but they are the lifeblood.
Yeah, fantastic. And there was something on the news about that World Club Championship again, and the Players Association coming out and saying, well, we don't care if it upsets the apple cart, it's best for the players and the teams, and it is going to put it right into a busy schedule. It's a bit like the World Club Football Championships. They've thrown that in. That's expanded. Now it's every 4 years. It's going to be every 4 years. So I believe the rugby.
Yeah, the rugby is going to be every 4 years. From memory, I did my research, Chris. 8 teams from the UK, European competition, 7 from Super Rugby, and 1 from the Japanese league. Yeah. So, look, I'd watch it with interest. Yeah. I think the kickoff is 2026 or 7, maybe 2027, and then every 4 years thereafter.
Yeah,
pretty cool.
Pretty cool. Be interesting how it all fits in. All right, thank you very much, mate. Good luck. Big day at Waimea, isn't it?
Isn't it ever? But a big day for all the clubs who are hosting games. Just 3 magnificent games, regardless of where you are. Get to one of them.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you very much. A big thanks to Tom Marshall, who is the coach of Nelson Rugby Football Club. And also big thanks to the Turf Hotel, Stan and the team. You can listen on NBS Talk Nelson on our website and socials, also Spotify, YouTube, and we've got digital radio as well. Don't forget, if you want to be a guest or a sponsor, please get in touch. That's a wrap. We'll see you next week for another episode of the Mako Rugby Roundup.
The Mako Rugby Roundup. What's on, where, and when. It's the Talk of Nelson. NBS Talk Nelson.